Hey guys, just a quick update from the Springbok camp. They said they were going to release some players. Squad's been whittled down from 54 to 55 to 45 overnight. There's been some injured players released. There's been some other players released back to their provinces. And one particular call-up, which is quite interesting, Boan Venter from Edinburgh, the former Cheetahs prop, has been called up by Rassie Erasmus, and certainly there's a couple of injuries at the moment, and I think he's been called up as cover. There's a couple of things in this. Obviously, there's injuries to Gerard Steenekamp at the moment. Stephen Kitshoff, who would have been there, he's of course retired now, so he's no longer available. Oxenchair is still there, and Tutuku Mchunu is also injured at the moment for the box. So and Jan Hendrik Wessels is there as a swinger and will fill in. So I think Ox and Jan Hendrik Wessels are probably the two front runners there. But Boan Venter has been long been talked about as he was a junior Springbok. He went over to Edinburgh. He's done well there for himself. A very strong scrummager. Gets around the field quite a bit. Scores quite a few tries for Edinburgh, and is seen as somebody who 27 is starting to come into his prime now. Now I don't think he's quite in the same league just yet as Gerard Steenekamp and Oxenchair. But obviously, Rassie's had his eye on him. He played for the Cheetahs before. He is a player, and it's an interesting selection all round. Now, what's going to be very interesting about this is Boan Venter, like Piers Schoeman, went over to Edinburgh. Piers Schoeman is definitely a project player, and he's become a Brescian Irish Lion. Has been a long-term project for Scotland as well, and with a lot of success, and really become sort of a cult hero in Edinburgh as well. Now, Boan Venter was a good signing for Edinburgh as well, and he's come through well, and he's given the scrum a lot of power as such. But there was always, I suppose, the sort of almost assumption that he was going to probably end up playing for Scotland, because I don't think any of us saw him on the Springbok radar just yet. That's why I think it surprised a lot of people this morning to see him called up. And it's going to certainly maybe do a bit of a tug of war there between South Africa and Scotland for where he's going to play. Now, we don't know just yet how serious the injuries are to Gerard Steenekamp and Tutuku Mchunu. Yeah, there's a lot of Springboks injured at the moment, and Gerard Steenekamp, the last we heard, had a bit of an infection, went in for a sort of to clean up his knee, a little procedure, and then got an infection, and that set him back, and he was supposed to come back in time for the Bulls playoff games in the URC, and he never did. So the fact that they've called up Boan Venter tells me that that injury is probably a little bit more serious than they expected, and they would have wanted him to be ready by now. And with Tutuku Mchunu also at the moment not being able to play, there is some concern there as well. So that's why Boan Venter has been called up. The Springboks have got a long injury list, and it's maybe worth reminding ourselves again just how long that list is, with Rassie's update the other day at the long injury list going into the international season.
Okay, maybe I'll just maybe quickly read. I actually printed it just to make sure I don't miss out anybody. Because obviously we will combine this in a release afterwards, and so we currently, we're 55 guys more or less in the mix, but there was actually 65 if you take guys who got long-term injuries and so on. So we've had alignment camps with 80 players in the beginning, and sorry if this takes a while, but I think it's good because we haven't really updated you guys on this and ladies on the call on this. So long-term injuries, Trevor Nyakane, Frans Malherbe, Dion Fourie, Ulrich Low, Cameron Hanekom. They'll, I'm not sure if they'll play this year again for us. Not medically cleared yet, who's got recent injuries, but hopefully somewhere during this year being cleared, some very close to, and some a little bit longer. Gerard Steenekamp. Tutuku Mchunu, so both two loose heads there, which is pretty vital. Peter Steph Tutuoy, we just actually haven't seen him. We think he's very close to it. We'll talk to him next week. Ben Jason Dixon, I think July. Giorno Augustus has got an issue, and he's moving between clubs from Northampton to, is it Exeter? No, Ulster, moving from Northampton to Ulster. So, he has to be cleared by Northampton and then have to accept that by Ulster first, so we can't intervene there until that's done. And then Lucanio is still struggling with a bit of a knee injury, so that's not medically cleared yet. Guys who's got injuries, we think it's in the next 1 to 3 weeks available. Jasper Visser really doing well on his injury. We think even from a Barbarians game he might be available. Grant Williams is very close, might be the Italy test match or at the latest the Georgia test match. And Mapimpi pulled his hamstring, which we hope is a 10-day injury. Then just to maybe finish this off, then I answer a lot of questions. Only joining us a little bit later for many reasons. Damian Willemse is joining us. He's playing for us, but only available for the Italy test match because the Stormers didn't make the semi-final. That wasn't an extra match that you could. He did his tackle school and all of that stuff, but he will only be available the first Italy test match where he would have been available the Barbarian match. So Damian Willemse only. Then Thomas de Toey must still finish with Bath, so we guess we'll only get him on the Sunday before the first Italy test match. So we're a bit thin on loose heads. If you take Gerard and Nchunu is out, there's Ox and Jan Hendrik at this stage there. But obviously there's a few guys that can swing on both sides. RG Snyman will only join us after Leinster's game. Hopefully that's early next week. Andre Pollard after Leicester's final, they're playing this week, which hopefully early next week. And then the Bulls players. That's why I said I can't see a lot of the Bulls players playing in a Barbarian match because we're trying new things as a coaching staff and management team and players together. And we've now had a full week of training tomorrow. And then next week is a little bit shorter. And if they arrive on Tuesday, we only then still have a Thursday training before the next week we're going to Cape Town. So, and that's about 8-9 guys or 7-8-9 guys. If you include the injury, it's about off camera and well, they out now. It's about 7-8 players. Yeah, I think I've ran through everything. I hope that helps.
So this leaves a very interesting situation for the Springboks, especially with Boan Venter now being part of the squad. There was this assumption that, like Piers Skuman, he would be going to Scotland, and Piers become an integral part of the Edinburgh squad and Scotland squad, and has now become a British and Irish Lion, and is a very much a cult player in Edinburgh circles. Now Boan was following that same thing, and it seemed like there wasn't really much interest in him. Now this call-up would have changed all of that. Now it'd just be interesting to see if Scotland push for him to commit to them, or if he gets a cap for the Springboks to time to South Africa. It's going to be very interesting to watch in the next couple of months. The fact that he's only joining the box after the Barbarians game makes it sound like it's more for cover, but yeah, there's always a chance that if there are a couple more injuries that he would get a chance to play, and that would make it very interesting. He's obviously very highly rated as a former junior Springbok, and the guy who the Boks think is very good in terms of his scrumming and around the field. And yeah, we're going to watch a couple of clips of him going around the field and scoring a few tries, just to show you how well he gets around the field for Edinburgh.
22, nobody home defensively in Leinster Blue, and Shield got very close to the line. Great opportunity this for Edinburgh, and they'll get their third try. Again, it's from close quarters. They've driven over from virtually on the line, and when it all came from that set piece, it just spun out the back, and Charlie Shield almost got there on his own, and in the end Boan Venter gets the try.
Yeah, that's fair value for their pressure, I think. Well, the winning of the game might be just out of their reach, never say never, but another try may bring them within a losing bonus point and an extra point.
Short somehow, just get his way over. No, he can't, but Venter may well have an as.
No, one placement ball on the line.
Gutsy effort this afternoon from Edinburgh. Gutsy way to finish.
Yeah, and they probably need more. They definitely need more than that. Joe, just defensively, Boan Venter goes up, but he gets nice and low, drives over.
Yeah.
It's again Mata. Oh, and driving through. Boan Venter. And he's made break after break. He's been one of Edinburgh's most impressive players with the ball in hand. He gets his reward.
Yeah, the beauty there is this quick ball. It's a two-phase play, isn't it? It's almost like Bill Mata takes it in first, and with the sole purpose of making quick balls so he can get the timing on the ball, with Boan Venter coming around the corner. That is well to quick it. See, Bill Mata doesn't really drive as far as he normally would do because he wants to get the ball down placed, so the momentum comes in the second carry, and Venter does well. He's carried well, as you say.
Oh, straight at the back from Shield, and an opportunity now as they hit the line. Midway inside that Leinster 22. Nobody home defensively in Leinster blue, and Shield got very close to the line. Great opportunity this for Edinburgh, and they'll get their third try. Again, it's from close quarters. They've driven over from virtually on the line, and when it all came from that set piece, it just spun out the back, and Charlie Shield almost got there on his own, and in the end.
Okay, so the team will assemble and train in Johannesburg this week, and then they'll move down to Cape Town for the Barbarians game. It's going to be interesting to see, because the Barbarians are definitely going to try and entertain, and it'll be a good test for the Boks. There's obviously, Rusty explained the other day exactly who's available and who's not, and the Bulls players won't be available for that because they haven't been with the Boks for enough sessions, but they will join the Boks this week as well, as will Erke Snyman and then Andre Pollard and Thomas du Toit and those players as well. So, but let's have a look at the squad that was selected and some of the points that were made in the press conference. Meaning obviously press release, not press conference. This was the paragraphs that made sense. Gerard Steenekamp and Tutuku Nshunu both were released because of their injuries, and the other players released from the squad. Lucanio Arms obviously not recovered as well. Pieter-Steph du Toit, I think they would have hoped that he would have been ready by now, but obviously it's going to take a little bit longer. Cameron Honeycomb, who we saw underwent surgery this weekend for a hamstring tear, and so we're still waiting to hear how long he's going to be out. Jean Augustus, who failed his medical going into Ulster, and obviously has to regain his fitness as well. And then another 5 players were released. Interestingly, Jaden and Jordan Hendrickse both released to the Sharks. Kean Horn released back to the Lions. Renzo Duplessis to the Lions, and then Totoko Makaza, the UCT winger who made the headlines, also been released. That one's not a surprise. I think Kean Horn, we probably know where Russie's sitting at the moment with his squad, and we'll speak about that now. But when you look at what he's got at 10, 9 and 10, the Hendrickse brothers are interesting ones to be left out. You would have thought they would have probably played a role somewhere. Renzo Duplessis, I think, was a surprise and was given sort of a nod for his Currie Cup and URC form. But there's enough flankers in the squad at the moment, so I don't think he's probably going to make it long term. Well, in this time, he's obviously on their radar. But for the moment, he's not in the plans. Kean Horn, if you look at it, Apelele Fassi and Willie Leroux are there. And there's a number of players who can play fullback as well if needed. So that's why he's probably been released. And Rassi spoke about Ntutoko Makaza the other day about why he had him in the squad and why he was given a chance. And he's somebody for the future, not somebody for now. And he was brought in to get some experience with the Springboks.
Yeah, no, I must say it's been a pleasure since the first day that we found him. You know, we've coached now for since 2018 together as a coaching team, and we've tried when there was still a SA Cup, which is still there, Currie Cup Premier Division, there was the First Division, there was Varsity Cup, and there was the Voda Cup in the old days. And we never always sure when you grab a player from a Japanese league or from the Premiership or from a top 14, you kind of could have gauged where that player are. And, you know, him being consistently the top varsity player, point scoring wise, I think in the history of the Varsity Cup, I'm being 22, 23 years old, you almost feel, is this one of the players that slips through the net? And you'll never know until you've worked with him. First of all, maybe meet the personality and in alignment camp, and then now at the actual camp, meet him on the field. Because we know when we pick up a Currie Cup player, he'll probably take a while. We pick up a Voda Cup player in the old days, Vodacom Cup player, which is now, the SA Cup almost, or maybe. It's nice to know he's definitely somebody who we think can one day play for the Springboks. It might be a bit too early now. And we probably knew that a lot of the, either the Bulls or the Sharks guys would not have been at this camp. And that includes guys like Mapimpi. If the Sharks were out, a guy like Kirtley would have not been back. So we knew there was 1 or 2 gaps open in the wing position for us to make the trainings work here. He slotted in really well, but we're all realistic about him. I think he can one day play for the Springboks. I don't think he's around the corner. When I say that, I think in the next 2 weeks, maybe a little bit later, or 3 weeks. But he's certainly not way off the pace. And, a guy who kicks 92% while playing for UCT and that wind on top there. and doing that consistent, not 92, but very close to that. That's also 12 points in a match for you. So I think he's going to make it one day, and if we didn't try, we would never know.
Then just confirmation that the squad's going to be assembling in Joburg, and obviously the Bulls players would join on Monday evening, RG Snyman on Tuesday, and then the Premiership final players, which was won by Johan van Graan's Bath. Thomas du Toit scored a try then, and Andre Pollard played for Leicester Tigers, his last game for them. They'll come through on Monday and next Monday respectively. So can't see either of them going into the Cape Town game either. I think there's enough other players. And then Boan Venter will be joining the team on Sunday 29 June. That tells me that that's after the first game against the Barbarians, so he's not going to be involved there, so he's as cover more than anything else, and that says a lot about that as well. Just Rossi's quote on Boan Venter, saying that obviously he's been consistent for Edinburgh in the URC and the EPCR Challenge Cup, where Edinburgh did make it through to the semi-finals in the Challenge Cup and the quarterfinals in the URC, and he's played for the Cheetahs, so they've had their eye on him for quite a while, and he was part of the junior Springboks. And he's a player that's definitely shown quite a bit of promise over the years, and they obviously feel that he's the next in line. And maybe just a reminder of just how good the squad is at the moment, how many players you've got around here. If you just look at that's the forwards at the moment. Loer de Jager is back from injury. Jean-Luc Dupré has played well for Sale Sharks this year. Thomas du Toit, as you know, scored a try for Bath in the final. Eben Etzebeth, Neethling Verscheers had a good season with the Stormers. Jean Klein, Vincent Koch, Siya Kolisi, Wilco Lowe, who didn't have it all his way in the final of the URC, but has certainly been consistent across the season. Malcolm Marks, Wongi Mnambi, the two incumbents at hooker. Salman Murat, who captained the box in Test last year. Franco Mostard's back. Oxen Che. Ruan Nokia has played 7, who probably didn't have he put in a lot of tackles, but obviously his team didn't have a great day in Dublin. Asinatin Tlabakanya, I think we're probably going to see him get a cap sometime soon in this year as well. Evan Roos came in when Cameron Honeycomb and Sean Augustus were injured. Kwagga Smith, RG Snyman, both World Cup winners. Vincent Chikchuka, Marco van Staden the same. Marnus van der Merwe has been the bolter for the Scarlets, had a great season for the Scarlets this year. And there's Boan Venter's name as well. Jan-Hendrik Wessels, of course, had a very consistent season with the Bulls. Kobus Wiese was probably the Bulls signing of the season, and his brother Jasper as well. So a lot of depth in that. Could easily pick a pack of 8 players plus some reserves, probably 2 or 3 from that would be world class. Just as much talent in the backs there. You see Kurt de Arendse, Damon de Lende, Faf de Klerk, Andre Estes and Apelele Fassi. Really, really good players. Sasha Fine-Mngomezulu, who was the URC player of the season, although there's some debate about that. You'll see another video I did at some point. Ethan Hooker has been one of the standouts this year as well. Chesson Colby, Jesse Kriel, Valilaroo, nothing needs to be said about them. Very experienced. Mani Lebok as well, been injured, so he didn't play the whole season. Makazole Mapimpi's aging like fine wine. Caden Moody had a great season but didn't have a good day in Dublin, as did many of his teammates. Andre Pollard on the losing side for Leicester Tigers, and also threw an intercept pass that led to the crucial try where Finn Russell intercepted, but still a great player and a clutch player in the test. Kobus Reinach, Morne van der Berg, both were there last year. Edmund van der Merwe, back from injury, was played against Wales last year. And Damon Willems, obviously, what can you say more about him? Double World Cup winner, Grant Williams. And the fact that Jaden Hendricks has gone back tells me that Grant Williams is ahead of him in the pack, and Grant will probably be playing a lot more. He also gives a bit more versatility to the side as well. So, but it's interesting that Morne van der Berg is there, and Grant Williams, and Jaden Hendricks has been released. Jordan Hendricks probably a bit more, because there's Mani Lebok, there's Sasha, there's Andre Pollard. There's enough players there to play, and there's enough at fullback with Apelele Fassi and Valilaroo. And of course, these players are only a phone call away if the Boks do need them. And Damon Willems also plays fullback, obviously, so there's enough cover for that as well. So I think you can slowly start seeing the squad take shape. The individual selections will get close to the time, but certainly a very good squad, even though some of these players have been left out. So that's the update from the Bok camp this morning. We're going to leave it there. We're going to leave it off with something I found on YouTube, Test Analytics, a account that does a lot of analytical videos after tests and stuff, doing a tribute to Boan Venter, obviously a big fan of his, and some of his scrums when he was playing for the Cheetahs. So let's leave that at the end of this video. If you can, go have a look at their YouTube channel as well. But otherwise, tell me what you think of the changes. Tell me what you think about Jaden and Jordan being left out, and Boan Venter being called up. It's interesting times. It's a long international season ahead, so it'd be good to see how Rossi uses them all. But that's it for today. If you haven't already, please subscribe, and I look forward to reading the comments. Have a great Sunday and a good long weekend. Cheers.